I think this is the hardest criterium course in the country. Highest criterium course I've ever ridden. I've ridden many in Mexico and Venezuela also. Nothing beats this.
It's probably it's the toughest criterium course I've ever ridden, but it's the best criterium course I've ever ridden. I really liked it.
Yeah, I love it. It's good and hard. Makes everybody hurt, you know.
This is the hardest criterium course I've ever ridden on. It was just mostly a race of attrition, just trying to get up the hill and then trying to recover on the downside and doing it all over again. So it's a good one.
This is the 9th running of the Vuelta. Can you tell me how this all got started?
Well, the race, the Vuelta actually started with John Timbers and some of his friends 9 years ago. John Timbers is a ex-racer. He moved to Bisbee and has been involved in real estate things here in Bisbee, but he had the desire to have a race take place right in Bisbee, and with the help of some friends that he had developed here in Bisbee and riders that he has known around the country, he proposed the first of the Vuelta and got it running, and it's been going ever since.
Well, I was racing in the early 70s, and we used to come on training rides down to Bisbee occasionally, and I was very attracted to the town, the terrain here and the old buildings. And a few years later, after I had gotten out of competitive cycling, I wanted to promote a race, and I thought, well, Bisbee would be a nice place to start, and I came down and presented the idea to the Chamber of Commerce, and they accepted the idea. I'm not sure they were all that excited about it, but after the first year, which was 1976, which was an Olympic year, and it's a good year to hold a race because people are all excited about the Olympics and the riders are training and hoping they can make the Olympic team, and we had a good turnout. We even had the Canadian Olympic team down here, and it got off to a bang. We had a good crowd, the weather was perfect, and we had a good race, and the town thought, gee, this is a good idea, and it continued to grow. We brought more people into the organization of it, and eventually the Rotary took it over, and now it has become a community-wide event, as you can see.
We have 4 classes of bikers that are eligible, 1, 2, 3, and 4, but we do not let the class 4 riders ride in this race because of the danger involved. You have to be either class 2, 3, or I'm sorry, 3, 2, or 1 in order to qualify. Plus, you have to have a license to race in this particular race. So somebody off the street couldn't come in and race this. They have to be qualified and licensed to do this.
Each year we think, you know, we can't top this, but with the designation of the 1986 race as a national prestige classic, we find ourselves in a situation where we have over 200 men and women, all of whom are national and world-class riders competing on the streets of Bisbee, Arizona.
You say world-class riders. That means outside the United States?
Absolutely. We have 26 states within the United States of men and women who represent us both in national and international competition throughout the world, and we also have 7 foreign nations represented in this year's race. One of the national competitors who was scheduled to represent the United States in the Tour of Spain this year, got as far as New York City and was turned back because of terrorist threats, and immediately booked into La Vuelta de Bisbee. So this is the caliber of rider we have, and we're really excited about it.
So you're saying you had a good community response?
A good community response, but a good committee. Everybody worked on it, did their job and did it well, and didn't depend on anybody else to cover it for them. And it was good energy and a good spirit, and that's what brought it together.
And all your staff is volunteer too, right?
Oh, exactly.
Well, yeah, we house a bunch of kids every year at our house, and we had about 14 or 15 this year.
Okay, now when you house these bikers every year at your house, that's strictly volunteer, right?
Oh, you bet. Yeah, we enjoy doing it. We've done housed for over 10 years. It seems one team leads into another. You know, we have one, maybe 8 or 10 kids this year, and they split on. They're on next year. They're on 4 or 5 different teams, and so whoever calls us first usually gets the reservation.
And so, what is your function in this race?
In the race today, our job is to stay in front of the leader and keep track of all the bikes that are lapped. And then after a given period, the lapped bikes are eliminated from the race. But it helps the officials to stay in touch with who the leader is by having because that'll change out in the course.
Okay,
So
you have somebody on the back of the bike helping you?
my son Justin.
Okay, and how do you communicate to the course directors as to who's been lapped? And
Well, every year what we've done is use 3x5 cards, and Justin will write down the lapped riders on the card, and then at some point in the course we tear off that card and give it to an official, and they keep track of it, and then we honk the rider off the course.
okay, you make it sound easy, but is it all that easy to do?
Well, yes and no. It helps to spend some time on motorcycles. I've been a racer for 20 years.
What about watching out for the other bikers? Do you have any
You have
problems?
to be real careful. That's the thing that's tricky. You can't get in the bikers' way. You have to be able to know where they're going, what their lines are through corners. And when you get in heavy traffic, like you might be going through 15, 20 bikes at a time in a tight spot, and you have to be out of their way because they're working harder and they don't have the weight that a motorcycle does. So you have to stay out of their way.
Have a program, please.
Certainly, they're free. Would you like a roster of the riders?
Oh, that would be nice.
Okay, there you
To
go.
show who's ahead?
No, that's over on that window over there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To go in a bike race, 15 laps to go. Remember, it's a 20-lap race. We're 1/4 of the way through. 15 laps to go. It's going very, very quickly here in Bisbee, Arizona.
All right, Mark. Go get him, keep going.
Unofficial winner, as we call it, and that's the way Sanders and Spence. Let's give another round of applause, Bisbee. Jeff Hartman from Boulder, Colorado, winner of the Criterium for 1984.
Where are you guys from?
Richmond, Virginia.
Richmond, Virginia?
Right.
Did you come here to Bisbee just to see the bike races?
I had no idea that they were going to have a bike race. I had read something about it in the Arizona paper that they were having some kind of cross-country race, I thought.
Ah.
And it was a surprise to us when we got here. We got stuck up at the top of the hill, so we said we're going to stay here and watch a race.
Have you ever been to Bisbee before?
Never. This is my first trip.
You plan on coming back sometime?
Yes, I'd enjoy coming back. I have my wife's cousin lives over in Sierra Vista, so we'd love to come back again.
Kate, where are you from?
I'm from Tucson.
Tucson?
Yeah.
Have you come here to watch the races?
Yes, I did. I came down with a friend of mine, Margot, who's talking to one of the racers right now. And she's been telling me about these bike races for a long time, so I decided to come down and see them. I'm originally from back east, and I have never had the pleasure of seeing them before.
So this is your first time?
Yes, and I should say that we were very good fans.
Did you enjoy it?
I really did.
You coming back again?
Oh, yes.
Great, I'm glad to hear it. Where are you ladies from?
Richmond, Virginia, and she's from Sierra Vista, Arizona.
I just talked to somebody else from Richmond.
Probably some of our party.
Is this their first time here?
No, second.
Second?
Well, it's first time in Bisbee.
Did you come specifically see the races, or are you just passing through?
We didn't even know the races were here, but I love this little town.
You coming back?
Oh, indeed I am.
Good, I'm glad to see that. You too, huh?
Sure. I like it over here. I've always liked it over here.
St. Louis, Missouri.
Did you come for the bike races?
Yeah, basically.
Have you been here before for the races?
No, it's the first time I've been in Bisbee.
You plan on coming back?
If I'm in the area, I plan to. It's a nice area. Town was real nice.
By 1986, Bisbee, once known as the Queen of the Copper Mines, was now recognized for hosting one of the premier cycling events, with its challenging criterium up and down the hills and streets of Old Bisbee. This will be highlighted in part 2 of the series, La Vuelta de Bisbee.